A group of friends transforms an abandoned house into a haunted attraction only to awaken its dark secret. They soon find out that some nightmares are real and they're trapped inside one. An urban legend tells the chilling tale of a woman who gives birth to a baby boy with a severe deformity in his hands. The doctor informs the parents that while the condition is untreatable, it gives the child supernatural strength. As the young baby grows older, he struggles to make friends due to his appearance. Other children bully him for being different, and only one girl stands up for him. One day, overwhelmed with rage, he grabs one of his tormentors by the neck and accidentally takes his life. The horrific act scares other kids and prompts the mother to lock him in their basement. Fearing for everyone's safety in the darkness, Baby discovers a mysterious friend who communicates through letters and plays games with him. Meanwhile, news of the terrifying incident spreads rapidly and an angry mob gathers outside their home. The villagers, driven by fear and hatred, set their residence on fire as the flames engulf the building. Baby desperately tries to save his unknown friend, but the door won't budge. He manages to escape into the lake, but when the villagers look over the edge of the dock, they see his body sinking into the waters and his remains are never found. Years later, in the woods near the infamous lake, a man named Alan reminds Cherry, his girlfriend, and Mia, who's responsible for filming, to take their horror channel seriously as they're struggling to reach even 100 red views. The camera woman, however, feels uneasy about their latest video idea. The guy brushes off her concerns, eager to explore Popeye's urban legend firsthand. As night falls, Mia begins recording the couple as they recount Popeye's story. Suddenly she spots something in the distance, but the two dismiss her fear. Determined to capture authentic content, they venture into Popeye's abandoned house and descend into the basement. The filmer opts to stay outside, hoping to capture eerie sounds in the woods. In the basement, Alan continues narrating in a hushed, suspenseful voice. Meanwhile, Cherry suggests recording an intimate scene to attract more viewers, so the couple removes their clothes and makes love in front of the camera. Unbeknownst to them, Mia wanders through the misty woods, hearing footsteps nearby. In the distance, a hulking figure silently watches her from across the lake. A whisper in her headset sends shivers down her spine before she can react. A now older Poppy ambushes her, crushing her skull beneath his boot. Inside, Cher's playful mood turns to horror as a monstrous hand rips through her stomach. Alan watches in shock as she collapses and quickly passes away. In a blind panic, he flees, desperately searching for an exit. With no way out, he hides in the shadows, holding his breath as the sound of heavy chains grows closer. Just when he believes the threat has passed, he stumbles upon Papy waiting for him in the darkness. With a brutal swing, the massive man smashes his knee, rendering him helpless. The unwilling prey fights back and momentarily stuns him, buying him enough time to bolt for the ladder, but his broken leg gives out, and when the hunter recovers, he seizes him by the throat and crushes his face until his eyes burst. Satisfied, Papy leaves the man's lifeless body behind and returns to the basement. Another letter awaits him at his mysterious friend's door, welcoming him home in the present. Laura and George argue over selling the property, with the wife firmly refusing. Her husband reminds her that they're behind on payments and that one of her colleagues already died after owning the same house, but she remains adamant. Their daughter Tara steps in to stop the discussion and announce that she's leaving. The couple sets their argument aside to give her a warm goodbye outside. Their daughter's friends Donna, Dylan, Nick, Sky, Kathy and Max wait for her. Before they travel to the infamous house behind the urban legend, they grow curious about its origins. Tara reveals that they plan to turn the abandoned house into a haunted attraction. When Max asks how they acquired it, she explains that Mrs. Astor, an old family friend, gave it to her mother before she passed away. The group travels for over half a day when an unexpected incident occurs. One of their cars hits a man on the road. Tara and Dylan rush out to check on him, but instead of being hurt, the man is furious, scolding them for speeding in an area with nothing but an old cursed house. When the teenager tells him that her parents now own the place, the man scoffs and warns them about the dark rumors surrounding the area before leaving. Meanwhile, her friends, who took a separate car, arrive at their destination ahead of them. The gang finds the house surrounded by barricade tape and no cell signal in the area, which unsettles some of them but excites others. Tara assures them it's only for a few days and urges everyone to bring their bags inside. Out on the foggy lake, Papy emerges from a small boat, his corncob pipe clenched between his teeth, his face and shirt smeared with blood. From a distance he senses intruders in his home. Inside, Dylan notices that his girlfriend somehow has a signal and questions her about it. She admits that it is possible in certain spots, including the cabin. When the boyfriend presses his lover about lying to others, she confesses that she wants them to focus on their work before he can argue further. Tara interrupts, concerned that the weather forecast predicts thick fog and shorter days for the entire week. Stressed about setting up the haunted attraction in time, she panics about how to get everyone to work faster. The man reassures her that he'll be with her every step of the way, and she leans into him for comfort. On the lake, the fisherman they bumped into is alone when all of a sudden Popeye tightens a chain around his neck, causing him to choke on his own blood and meet his untimely demise. Back at the house, the group is having a late night mini while the others are distracted. Donna notices Tara anxiously writing and urges her to relax. Stressed, she stands up and calls for everyone's attention to announce that the thick fog will last all week, so they need to start working now. Some insist they can start in the morning, but Donna and Dylan remind them of Tara's mother, their favorite old teacher who struggles financially. With no further objections, the group gets to work, wanting to help out. Meanwhile, at home, Laura and George continue arguing about the property, with the husband warning her about its dark history. Their fight is interrupted when Dylan's mother Jane rushes to the wife with a newspaper revealing that Papy is back and has already killed 3 people. Worried about the teens, Shay urges Laura to check on them, but she dismisses her, saying they can talk in the morning. Back in the woods, the group paints decorations for the haunted house, though Tara is frustrated that no one follows her instructions exactly. Suddenly a woman furiously knocks on their door, so she opens it with Dylan and politely asks her to leave. However, she barges in, warning them to get out if they want to stay alive. Donna, now irritated, pushes the stranger outside, telling her to stop scaring them. As she leaves, she casts an eerie glance at Tara, so she follows her outside to apologize. The woman stares back with an unsettling expression and cryptically warns that someone is coming for her. Then she runs off, leaving the young lady frozen in terror. Shaken, Tara returns inside, urging everyone to wrap up and rest. Meanwhile, Laura tries calling her as she worries about her daughter, but she doesn't answer her phone. In the cabin, Dylan confesses to his girlfriend that he has been accepted into a college across the country and invites her to come with him. Tara, deeply attached to her parents, refuses to leave her family. Her boyfriend insists it's time for her to grow up, which offends her and causes her to storm out. Outside, Sky and Nick share an intimate moment in the outdoor bathtub. The mistress, who's tired of being a secret, urges Nick to tell the truth about them to his girlfriend Donna. However, the guy refuses to admit their relationship and leaves angrily. Left alone, the lady texts his lover about her secret relationship with Nick before relaxing in the water. Before she can react, Popeye slits her throat, silencing her screams. The large man then proceeds to drown her as her phone sinks beneath the surface. From the shadows, the eerie woman watches beside the hunter, seemingly satisfied by the act. The next morning, the group searches for Sky, unaware of the horror that befell her. Afraid of being exposed, Nick quickly lies, claiming she left early. The others hesitate but ultimately accept his explanation, unaware of the danger lurking nearby. Later that day, Max wanders alone into the foggy woods. Along the way, he stumbles upon a lake with a small boat. Curious, he steps inside but quickly exits after catching a foul odor. Unaware of the corpse leaning just out of sight, he settles on the dock, taking a moment to entertain himself when suddenly an anchor slams into his groin. Writhing in agony, he barely registers Popeye emerging behind him. The hulking figure grabs Max and mercilessly wrenches his head from his spine. Meanwhile, the others enjoy a bath in the large tub, treating it like a pool party. As Donna takes photos of her friends, her phone suddenly picks up a signal and a message from Sky appears. Her eyes widen at the discovery of Nick's affair, causing her to momentarily glance at him with shock before walking out in disbelief. Back at the parents' house, Laura frantically tries to call Tara. Once more confused, George urges her to calm down, but their neighbor Jane bursts in, clutching Dylan's journal, revealing that the teens have gone straight to the infamous house from the urban legend. Panicked, the mother searches for the car keys only to realize they're missing. The father, still unaware of the full situation, struggles to understand what's going on. At Papy's home, Nick rushes after his girlfriend, desperate to explain himself, but she walks ahead, her mind spinning, unable to understand how he could betray her with her own friend. The guy tries to justify himself, insisting Sky was just a fling, but Donna is the one he truly truly wants. Disgusted, she walks away despite his attempts to stop her. Furious, the man punches a piece of wood, injuring his hand, and smashes through the window, scattering glass across the floor. He hesitates before picking it up, studying it with a confused frown as a dense fog rolls in. An eerie silence fills the room. Suddenly the man behind the urban legend emerges from the mist, but he reacts fast, landing a punch on him. However, Papy is stronger and simply grabs Nick's arms, snapping them like twigs. Desperate, his prey scrambles for a weapon, but the attacker wrestles it from his grip and shoves his eye onto a splintered wood. Meanwhile, a heartbroken Donna wanders through the fog. Although hesitant, she decides to go back to her boyfriend, but as she steps into the room, she freezes in horror when she sees Nick's lifeless body. Terrified, she turns to flee, but the eerie woman they encountered earlier stands in the doorway. Panic surges through her, so she bolts in the opposite direction, running for her life. At the cabin, Dylan shakes Tara awake, telling her that most of their friends are missing. They decide to step outside, where they find Kathy also searching for everyone else. The group's leader begins to panic, but the other woman reassures her, suggesting the others might have gone out to buy supplies. Still uneasy, she returns to the house and surveys the dimly lit interior when a burned glass photo of her mother catches her eye. Meanwhile, Donna, breathless and trembling, hides deep in the woods. She stifles her sobs, feeling the weight of danger pressing down on her. As Papy moves in another direction, she cautiously steps back. However, she triggers a snare trap beneath her feet, which wraps around her body and immobilizes her on the ground. Tara returns to show the photo she found, but Dylan and Kathy dismiss it. The other woman suggests they head home to wait for their friends instead, and the man agrees. Meanwhile, Donna screams, struggling to free herself from the trap. A blinding light suddenly shines on her as the sound of an engine roars to life. Papy is driving a tractor straight toward her. Frozen in terror, she begs for mercy, but the hunter remains unmoved. Her yells echo through the night as the machine slowly slices through her. Tara, Dylan and Kathy rush toward the noise and are horrified to see their friend in her final moments. Their cries attract Popey's attention, and they immediately turn and flee. As they run, Kathy stumbles and falls, then quickly decides to change direction to escape the relentless attacker. Back at the property, Tara's parents and Dylan's mother arrive, searching for the teens. George demands answers from Laura, insisting she tell him what she's been hiding. She promises to explain everything, but only after they find Tara. Out of nowhere, Papy appears and attacks Jane, choking her until she passes away. George prepares to fight, but hesitates when he sees Popey's enormous deformed arms. Realizing they're no match for him, the husband and wife run for cover. Meanwhile, the teen couple stops to catch their breath, questioning if the attacker is really the infamous urban legend. But before they can process it, Tara's parents find them. Dylan asks how they knew where they were, so Laura reveals that his mother led them there. When he asks where she is, the woman regretfully informs him of Jane's sorrowful fate. Stunned, the son struggles to accept what he just heard, but Laura urges them to keep moving elsewhere. Kathy runs blindly through the darkness. She stumbles upon Donna's lifeless body and panics, running to the nearest car. Frantically, she tries to start it, but the engine won't turn over. As she looks up, she sees Papy standing in front of the car, watching her with terrifying ease. He flips the vehicle upside down, douses it in gasoline and sets it ablaze, which causes an explosion that lights up the night sky. Tara, Dylan, Laura and George see the fiery blast in the distance. However, the perpetrator also locks his eyes on them and starts chasing them, forcing them to flee inside the cabin. The husband has had enough, so he demands the truth from his wife. With no choice, she confesses that the man hunting them is Johnny, Popey's real name, one of her students. Years ago, after his death, she was haunted by nightmares just like the rest of the town. The only way to stop the terror was to rebuild the house and ensure it had a single owner. They decided to choose people in alphabetical order to inherit the property, but the first owner met a gruesome fate, and now it was her turn. She reveals that Johnny was bullied constantly, but Tara was the only one who ever defended him. Fearing for her daughter's safety, she made a terrible decision. She orchestrated the fire that burned down Johnny's house, believing it would protect the town. Suddenly, the eerie woman from earlier enters the cabin and stabs Laura without hesitation. To avenge his wife, George lunges at her, but she repeatedly stabs him in the stomach. As the father collapses, the woman turns to Tara with a chilling expression. She tells her not to move, insisting that Papy won't harm her because he loves her. her. There is a twisted devotion in her voice, as if she truly believes the teenager is special to him. She then introduces herself as Olive, Johnny's forgotten sister, and reveals that she was locked in the basement as a child. At the time, he was the only one who fed her after their parents abandoned them when he met his early demise. She felt powerless to save him. With a bitter edge, she mutters that the ones who passed away by Johnny's hand deserved their unfortunate fate. Dylan suddenly attacks Olive with a pan, but she overpowers him just as she's about to stab him. Tara douses her in fuel, giving the survivors a chance to escape as they try to flee into the foggy forest. Popeye's sister grabs Tara by the hair and slams her to the ground. Overcome with jealousy, she begins choking her. Thankfully, Dylan reacts quickly. He throws a lighter at the eerie woman engulfed in flames. She screams in agony as the fire consumes her. Just then, Papy appears and instantly takes Laura's life. Then he turns to Tara, repeating her name over and over. Suddenly he hurls his anchor at her boyfriend and brutally him as he struggles to fight back. The girlfriend spots the tractor and immediately jumps in to start the engine. As the man moves toward her, Dylan uses the chain from his weapon to trap his feet. Finally, the tractor moves forward, pulling Popeye into its sharp blades and tearing him apart. Tara, now covered in the perpetrator's blood, moves toward Dylan and they hug each other, trying to move on. She throws the anchor-shaped keychain into the lake, but instead of sinking, it unexpectedly gets thrown back at her. Before she can understand what's happening, a dark figure appears from behind Popeye, unharmed and still alive, steps out of the shadows and grabs her.